Hello, in this video, we will consider Keynesian approach to money demand. Keynesian approach to money demand, when we consider, we divide overall money demand into two. L is total money demand according to Keynes. He divided this into two, L1 and L2, where L1 is active balance demand for money and L2 is idle balance demand for money. Considering L1, Keynes has divided L1 into two, LT and LP, where this LT is transactions motive demand for money and LP is precautionary motive demand for money. L2, which is idle balance demand for money, has one motive under that, that is LS, speculative motive demand for money. So L, which is L1 plus L2, where L1 is further divided into two motives, LT and LP, and L2 is equal to LS. Considering now in terms of motive, therefore, L will be equal to LT plus LP. These two are components of L1, whereas L2 has one component under that, speculative motive LS. So if we add this up, okay, only motives we take up and add up, we get L as LT plus LP plus LS. So there are three motives for holding money according to Keynes: transactions motive, precautionary motive, and speculative motive. Let us understand what is that. Transactions motive demand for money is part of income which is kept aside to meet day-to-day transactions. If it is monthly income, we receive income only on first. Does not mean we will spend only on first of a month. We need to spend on remaining days of a month also. So out of what we receive, part of income is kept aside to meet day-to-day transactions. That is called transactions motive demand for money. Precautionary motive, where we say future is uncertain. So we are trying to make future safe by making provision for future. We are taking precautions against uncertainties. Uncertainties that Keynes is talking about are accident, illness, temporary unemployment. So during this difficult time, individual will not be able to earn. So what individual is doing? When he is fit and fine and is healthy, he is making provision for uncertain time. So part of income which is kept aside to take care of future uncertainty is called precautionary motive. Precautionary motive demand for money. We make provision for future uncertainties. For day-to-day also we have kept some money aside. Some part of income we relate with interest rate. We try to earn more. So we speculate. Part of interest, income, which is relating to this, responding to interest, is speculative motive demand for money. So what we considered, we talked about L1 plus L2 in earlier slide. That is total demand for money, L is active balance demand for money, L1, and L2, which we will see further, idle balances, I also explained L1 as equal to LT plus LP. LT is transactions motive. Meaning of this, you are already knowing this now. What we were considering, part of income individual keeps aside to meet day-to-day transaction. We were talking about household sector. So it was income motive actually. In same way, business people also behave. For them also their income is received with a time gap, but expenditure is continuous. They need to pay for staff salary, raw material, etc. So they also have to make provision for these transactions that they will have to meet. So part of income which they keep aside for this purpose is LT for them, which is business motive. Precautionary motive meaning I already covered in last slide. So we say it is income which is kept aside for taking of precaution against uncertainties. We consider L1 we say L1 is income determined and L1 is interest inelastic. Income determined, which will depend upon income, which will get determined by income. As we can see here in diagram, money income and L1, which is LT and LP, we are showing on axis and the curve is upward sloping. That means as money income rises, LT and LP rises. It is determined by income. Positive relation between both. L1 is function of income. Relation is positive. That means as income will rise, L1 will rise. L1 is interest inelastic. Rate of interest we are showing on axis and L1. Curve is vertical straight line curve. L1 curve is vertical straight line curve. That means whether rate of interest will rise or it will fall, there is no change in L1. It is not responding to interest. That means it is not responding to interest rate. Whether interest rises or falls, what you are keeping for your day-to-day needs and for taking of precautions, that amount will remain same. That will not change. After considering these two features of L1, we consider L2. We say L2 is function of I. L2 has only one motive under that. You are knowing this. LS, speculative motive. So L2 is idle balance demand for money. Idle. What you are doing with money, you are keeping it idle, not doing anything with that, holding in liquid form. See how this works? We say if rate of interest is OI, okay, our L2 is OM to begin with. When rate of interest will fall, that is, it has declined from I to I1, demand for idle balances increased from M to M1 we say, correct? Downward sloping curve indicates inverse relation. So as interest rate falls, L2 rises. L2 is improving or increasing with that. Why? Because Keynes is giving two reasons for this. He says, when rate of interest is low, it is risky to make investments. So people decide to keep more money idle. Second, when rate of interest is low, it will not be low forever. It is going to rise someday. So people decide to wait for good opportunities to come. So what they do, they are deciding to hold more money. They decide to keep more money idle. That is speculative motive or idle balance demand for money. Inverse relation we are showing between rate of interest and L2 in this way. Whether this downward slope will remain forever. So we say no. As rate of interest will fall, L2 is rising. But this is true only up to certain point, like R interest rate, which is, according to Keynes, theoretically determined minimum rate of interest. According to Keynes, rate of interest can never be zero. It can never be negative. So when rate of interest is 2%, we consider this as theoretically possible minimum rate of interest. So up to point T, this L2 curve was sloping downwards. Once we attained T, L2 curve became horizontal straight line. This horizontal straight line part of L2 curve is called liquidity trap. That means after this rate of interest is attained, whatever additional balances that individual will have, they will decide to have everything in liquid form, that is cash. They will not make any investments because this rate is too low. They consider it to be very risky to invest at this rate. Okay, so they decide to wait. So here we say L2 is function of rate of interest, and we have introduced liquidity trap concept. So Keynesian theory we covered here. L, total demand for money, we say is L1 and L2, and both the components we have covered.